Dr. Frankl would sometimes ask his patients, "Why do you not commit suicide?" From their responses, he often finds guidelines for his psychotherapy. For example, one's love for their children, a talent to be used, or perhaps only lingering memories worth preserving. To weave these slender threads of a broken line into a firm pattern of meaning and responsibility is the object and challenge of logotherapy. The experience of the prisoner. Dr. Frankl was a prisoner himself, and so he spoke about the experiences he had as a prisoner in the Holocaust, as well as those around him. First, he noticed desensitization. In psychology, it is normal for people to have an unnormal reaction to unnormal situations. That being said, he recognized within himself and others around him desensitization to the horrors that were happening, as well as apathy. Second was primitive desires. The personality sort of withdrew and was reduced into a more primitive sense, where the desires and the personality was much more primitive, only focused on food, water, sleep, and things to stay alive. And then the third thing he observed in the experience of the prisoner was death. He noted that those who survived often weren't the best. He survived, however, by chance. The book is so powerful because he finds meaning in the Holocaust. And so an example of that would be he has an opportunity to escape the Holocaust camp that he's in, and he decides to return to help his fellow inmates as a doctor and save their lives. In that, he found peace. So his hope came not from this idea of survival, but rather something else. Foregoing the opportunity to survive, he stayed in the camp. And although he had no opportunity to escape, he found much more peace, not in survival, but in staying and helping. That being said, he did, by the grace of God, survive. A powerful quote from this book discussing the topic of hope. About his wife, Dr. Frankl writes, "A thought transfixed me. For the first time in my life, I saw the truth as it is, set into song by so many poets, proclaimed as their final wisdom by so many thinkers. The truth that love is the ultimate and the highest goal to which man can aspire. Then I grasped the meaning of the greatest secret that human poetry and human thought and belief have to impart. The salvation of man is through love, and in love. I understood how a man who has nothing left in this world still may know bliss, be it only for a brief moment, in the contemplation of his beloved. In a position of utter desolation, when man cannot express himself in a positive action, when his only achievement may consist in enduring his sufferings in the right way, an honorable way, in such a position, man can, through love, loving contemplation of the image he carries of his beloved, achieve fulfillment." Dr. Frankl's conclusion about the Holocaust was that even though conditions suggested that they were supposed to react in certain ways, in its final analysis, it was clear that the sort of person the prisoner became was a result of an inner decision and not the result of camp influences alone. Fundamentally, therefore, any man can, even under such circumstances, decide what shall become of him mentally and spiritually. He may retain his human dignity even in a concentration camp. Someone once said, and I'm quoting him, "There is only one thing that I dread, not being worthy of my sufferings." These words frequently came to my mind after I became acquainted with those martyrs whose behavior in camp, whose suffering and death bore witness to the fact that the last inner freedom cannot be lost. It can be said that they were worthy of their sufferings. The way they bore their suffering was a genuine inner achievement. It is this spiritual freedom that cannot be taken away that makes life meaningful and purposeful. Logotherapy addresses the feeling of total and ultimate meaninglessness in life. Dr. Frankl calls this the existential vacuum, which is a wide phenomenon of the 20th century. This is due to a twofold loss man has had to undergo since becoming a human being. Man lost basic animal instincts in which an animal's behavior is embedded and by which, secured, such security is close to a man forever. Man has to make choices. In addition, man has suffered another loss more recently of the traditions. The traditions for his behavior are now rapidly diminishing. No instinct tells him what he has to do, and no tradition tells him what he ought to do. Sometimes he knows not what he even wishes to do. Instead, he either wishes to do what other people do, conformism, or he does what other people wish him to do, totalitarianism. Dr. Frankl's response to this was that the question of the meaning of life may actually be reversed. Man shouldn't ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. Each man is questioned by life, and he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. He can only respond by being responsible. Responsibleness is the very essence of human existence. This leads to self-transcendence, which leads to self-actualization. Self-transcendence can be understood as the more that one forgets himself, the more human he is. And this will lead to self-actualization. A quote from Viktor E. Frankl on self-transcendence would be, "Don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you're going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued. It must ensue, and it only does so as the unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or is the byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. Happiness must happen, and the same holds for success. You have to let it happen by not caring about it. I want you to listen to what your conscience commands you to do, and go on to carry it out to the best of your knowledge. Then you will live to see that in the long run I say, success will follow you precisely because you have forgotten to think of it." In Dr. Frankl's book, one fellow prisoner said, looking at the sunset, "How beautiful the world could be." But we are not prisoners, so it is our responsibility to make the world as beautiful as we can, and perhaps we can do this through love. Whether or not we can change the world is irrelevant. As Viktor E. Frankl said, the hopelessness of our struggle does not detract from its dignity and its meaning. So if you want to find yourself, you can do this through forgetting yourself, transcending yourself, and loving others, and making the world a little bit more beautiful. Thank you.